Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Priscilla Ichabe. I am so excited to share this information with you right now on circumcision. Just kidding, the last YouTube video I ever thought that I would be making. But I wish I had this content to look at, so that is why I'm creating this for you. I'm not telling you what to do. I am just sharing exactly what our family has been through, and it has been miraculous. I'm so excited to share this with you right now. All right, we have a baby boy on the way. We are 4 weeks until he's due. November 25th is his due date. We'll see if that happens. And you know what, having a baby boy, right when I found out, I was honestly stressed before I was even pregnant with a boy about the thought of circumcision. You know, I never questioned it. I always knew that I was gonna do it. I started getting a little bit more anxiety the further along in this pregnancy about doing it, and the thought of just handing my baby over to the doctor while they do this is just, it hurts my heart, and I dread the day of having to do that. It's so crazy. I was praying about it, and I've been praying about it so much. You know, it's something that I just don't want to do. And so I'm praying about it and praying about it. All these things start like happening, right? Somebody comes into my life at a business event, and she sits next to me and she's like, "Pris, are you gonna circumcise your son?" And I'm like, that is so crazy you asked me that, because I do not want to whatsoever. My heart's like racing about it. It's the last thing that I want to do. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't circumcise my son." And her mom is a nurse, and she's in the rooms with the babies that are being circumcised. And she tells me, she's like, "I have this video. I want to send it to you. You have to watch it before you make a decision like this." I'm in that, you know, in that space, and I see exactly what goes on, and it's horrible. When they say that they don't feel anything, that's not true. It's called Child Circumcision: An Elephant in the Hospital by Professor R. McAllister. I don't think you could see that, but I will put the link. I'll drop the link below and show you exactly the video. And I'm like, there's no way that I can watch anything, especially if it's like there's pictures of stuff, and no way. So I left it in my phone. I never looked at it. I already have the most uneasy feeling about it. I don't need to see any pictures. I won't be able to sleep at night. I'm way too sensitive for that. And then every single day for a solid week that I'm opening up my Bible, it is talking about circumcision. And I'm like, what in the world is this? Every single day. I'm not even kidding you. So I wanted to read this to you real quick too. So it says, "The biblical act of circumcision. First off, before embarking on any kind of faith-based discussion of circumcision, it is important to clarify that the circumcision that Abraham and his descendants practiced was something entirely different from modern circumcision. Biblical circumcision merely involved cutting the tip of the foreskin, not completely removing it." So if you go online and you Google this, it is completely different of biblical times and what they do now culturally, which I'll get into. It says, simply put, God never ordained that the foreskin or any other part of the human body should be amputated. Our modern invention of foreskin amputation took place in Victorian times, when several doctors and psychiatrists came up with the idea in hopes of discouraging masturbation. It didn't work, but the practice soon became ingrained as tradition. So I start looking into stuff like this, because for me, in my mind, I'm like, this is biblical, that's why you do it. And I've talked to a bunch of other people, and they really don't know why. I'll give you the examples in a second about that. But, you know, I start looking stuff up and looking at photos, drawings, not real photos, but drawings of exactly how they did it biblical times and how they do it modern times in the US. It's completely different. Then I go get a facial, and I am asked about, am I gonna circumcise my son? I'm like, I've never asked this question to anybody before, and I've never been asked this. And it all happened in this 1 week. It was crazy. And so I'm like, that's so funny you ask. This is going on, this is going on. I haven't brought it up to Colten yet because we're both in sales and this is something that I would have to sell him on, and it would have to be really, really, really good to change his mind, right? As far as I know, of course we're doing this. We never even talked about it though. So I'm having a conversation with this lady and she's all for not circumcising. I'm like, what in the world? Okay, next day read my Bible, all about circumcision again. So crazy. So this has been going on for a month and I'm supposed to record this video about a month ago. I've been putting it off. And then this morning it says, for there are many rebellious people who engage in useless talk and deceive others. This is especially true of those who insist on circumcision for salvation. I'm like, all right, I gotta make this video today. I have to do this. So here we go. So I have this video on my phone from that friend. I've had multiple conversations about people and why they're not circumcising, which nobody talks about. I wish more people did. Now I have to have this conversation with Colten. So I casually ask him, what are your thoughts on circumcision? And he said, well, it's biblical. Okay, well, now we're in, we have to sell each other on this. I'm like, it is not. It's actually not biblical anymore. Now that Jesus came back, my son is not gonna have salvation in circumcision, physical circumcision, right? The New Testament talks about your heart being circumcised, not physically skin amputated off of a private part for a man. Like, that's not how you get into heaven, and that has nothing to do with salvation or being set apart. It is a cultural thing. So I'm like, no, you can't have that argument with me because that's not true. My son is not gonna be saved through being circumcised. So he's like, but my son has to look like me. We have to have like the same. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. And then his other point was, and it's so much cleaner. Okay, there's no medical anything saying that it is cleaner, nothing. And girl parts, there's like a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned, and all you do is teach your children about cleanliness. And we have to teach Penelope how to clean body parts. Why can't we teach our boy how to clean body parts? I cannot imagine handing my son over to get a piece of his skin sliced off because of cleanliness. I'm gonna teach him how to brush his teeth and clean his ears and clean other parts just like Penelope. So that wasn't a strong enough argument for me. I'm like, okay, so are you 100% sure you wanna do this? And he said, I'm 100% sure, no question about it, we're doing it. So I agreed. I was like, okay, if that's what you want, we will do it. I'll get through it. Ugh, such an uneasy feeling for me to have to do that. So I'm praying every single day in the Daily Bible. I read this every single day. Change Your Life Daily Bible by Becky Tirabassi, and it's a study edition. Every day, reading my Bible, praying, Lord, lead me, guide me, show me your truth. What do you want me to do? Let me hear your voice. Colten goes on a trip and he comes back. I am so serious, you guys. And he walks through the door one day and he's like, we're not circumcising Preston. And he starts crying, tears. My husband is not like an emotional crying type of person. And he's crying in tears and he's like, we're not circumcising Preston. I start crying because I'm like, Lord, you are so good and so faithful. And I didn't have to try to argue with my husband. I did a ton of praying for, to open our eyes and to make the right decision, but I never had to try to convince him or anything. Well, he goes on this trip and somebody that he looks up to that is a Christian man as well, he said, you have 3 boys. Did you circumcise them? And this man said no. And this guy sent Colten the same exact video that my friend sent me. I never shared it with Colten. I never watched it, but Colten said he shared this video with me. I watched the whole entire thing. It made me sick to my stomach. I was crying watching it, and it has completely changed my mind. And it's the video that I mentioned earlier. I'm gonna drop it below. You have to watch it if this is something that, you're questioning too. And he literally couldn't sleep for a couple of nights because he was so traumatized by what he saw in the video. And it's just so wild when you pray about something and you feel something in your spirit that doesn't feel right. Circumcision did not feel right to me, never has. And it's so cool how God just shows up exactly when you need him, where you need him, when you ask for guidance, all of that. So for our family, we will not be circumcising Preston. I am so thankful and so grateful and so happy that I don't have to go through that with this delivery. I don't have to hand him over to a doctor for the doctor to do anything like that. I don't have to go through the recovery of that. And the moms that I know that have done that I've talked to about this, I know it's a really sensitive topic, they literally were like, it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It was horrible. It was traumatizing. And for me, it's something that I would have done because I wasn't educated on it, and everybody does it. And this is literally done in the US. It's a cultural thing, and it is because, honestly, because it looks better. And that's all that it's for, because it looks better. And that's what everybody will say. And it is crazy to me to hand your baby over for that reason. That's all I got for you. Pretty incredible how God shows up, and just so grateful that we're not gonna do this, and that we don't need to, and that's not how you have salvation and go to heaven, or prove that you're set apart for the kingdom, especially as a Christian perspective. And watch that video, please. I wasn't able to, but I still have not watched it. But if maybe you're the wife and your husband is all for it, maybe you can share that video with them. I know that men are the ones that really want to get this done for all the same reasons that Colten did. And you know what? I wasn't gonna fight that. I was gonna go through with it too, but thank God for prayer and God coming through that we don't have to go through this. And I'm really excited about that. And I hope that this opens your mind to, I don't know, something, maybe researching more, really knowing what circumcision is all about, and that it's not just biblical or for cleanliness or all these silly things that people say. So love you guys. I hope this helps. Please leave some comments below. If you're for or against, I don't care. Will not be offended whatsoever. I would love to hear your opinion. But I love you, and I hope this helps you make a decision with your little baby boy.